Hey everyone, today I'm here for another episode of Ponte Vedra's Finest with Javonn Wright of King of Pops. Javonn, tell us a little bit about your business.
Hi, so my business is about providing great pops that are nutritional, but also very yummy. So we have all natural fruit-based pops, and then we have cream pops. And we kind of just play off based off the season, just which one is more popular than the other.
So, what's the difference in your pops and a normal popsicle that you'd buy from a store?
So a normal popsicle from a store, for the most part, are sometimes filled with dye, sugars, different ingredients of that nature. But with our pops, especially the fruit pops, there's the fruit are sourced from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and a little bit of Florida, since we have people here in Florida that are selling our pops. So we try to, patronize the farmers that in the areas in which we sell. And
Absolutely.
so that's made with a little bit of organic cane sugar, lemon juice, and basically the fruit that we source is pureed and turned into a popsicle.
So, where is it that you make the pops if you're sourcing the fruit and everything? Where does the whole, like, how does that work? Do you kind of grind it down? I'm unfamiliar with the process.
No, no problem. So, King of Pops is a brand that's very known in the Atlanta area. It actually was born there, so we're franchisees here in Florida, and so they gather up all the ingredients, and we actually, if you take a look, we actually post those videos. You can either go on our Instagram, KOP_Ponte or Facebook, and we actually show the videos of people hand making the popsicles. So in
That's pretty
the,
cool.
I want to call it factory because it's not like machine based, but people actually, there's people hired to actually hand make our pops. And you can see them doing the ingredients, pouring them in and freezing them and taking them out and, just packaging them up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, really cool because you think if you're buying something from a grocery store, you don't know where it's been, where it came from. It probably came down an assembly line, some machine squirted something in and it was done. But something like this where you know that it's handmade, it's real, it's coming from real fruit, the cane sugar, all that's awesome. So what exactly brought you into this business? What made you decide to open it?
So my husband and I, we've lived in a couple of places, and we were actually on the other side of the cart when we lived in the Metro Atlanta area. And so we would always go to the farmers markets, and anywhere these pops were, we wanted to be there because they were very good. The flavors, it's not just your basic traditional flavors. There's like seasonal pops, like we have like a strawberry hibiscus pop. We have a pop that's made with actual steeped rose water. So we always was looking for whatever the next flavor was outside of the traditional pop. So it's like when we came to Florida, we know they didn't have a King of Pops here. And so we wanted to bring the joy that we had in Atlanta down to Florida.
Spread that joy.
That's right.
Now, what's your motivation behind this business? What drives you to do it? Obviously, you want to spread some joy. You like the business from when you were in Atlanta, but what's your motivation behind it? Like running
The
your own.
motivation is that we're providing a great, healthy pop. So everybody can enjoy it. We've had babies, toddlers experience their first pop with us, all the way to I think she was about 76 years old, and she relived her childhood while eating a pop. So that is the motivation behind why we do it, because it's that unexpected moment of happiness of enjoying the pop and just watching people enjoy that pop.
Doesn't it feel good when you get to see those kind of things and see people have those experiences? It just gives you that little kind of fuzzy. I guess that's not you hear that so often. I get a warm, fuzzy feeling, but in that case, you really would. You get that feeling like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is cool. I'm offering something that's good for everybody. And it makes you feel,
Absolutely. And it also like sometimes we forget that we're even selling the product because we get so engaged in conversation with people that come up, and it turns into a whole conversation. And sometimes my husband likes to refer to it as a party at the cart because because the conversations, it's not like, and that's one of our goals is to not just sell you a pop. We want you to have an experience and enjoy yourself. So don't feel that you have to buy and walk away. Like, have a conversation with us. Let's enjoy this together.
I think that's awesome about running a business where you can talk to people. I personally like to talk to everyone. I'll go to the grocery store with my girlfriend and she's like, all right, we got to leave. And I'm like, well, give me about 30 more minutes. I'm talking to so and so from up the road, or I'm talking to my family member who's just so happens to be in the store at the same time as us. It's going to be 45 minutes now. You know, so I think being able to talk to people like that's very cool. So when you
Yes.
first started this business, what was it like? Were there any challenges that you had to face?
Well, when we first started, we were a little bit scared because this is our first business. And of course, you want to succeed when you do something, you want to make sure that everything goes well. And so just trying to navigate through making sure that you have your business tax license, that you have all of your certifications with the Florida Department of Agriculture. So that was, I would say, like the hardest road because there was no map to it. It's like you had to figure it out on your own. So there was a lot of phone calls, a lot of being on hold, a lot of emails, a lot of, oh, you got the wrong person after you've held on for 45 minutes. You need to actually call this person. And so that was the hardest part. But once we got through that and hit the road running, it's been a blast ever since.
So what did you do before this?
So this is like, I don't want to call it a part-time because it almost seems full-time because we do go out like during the week, but I'm also an accounting manager. So I do numbers all day. And then I do this, after sometimes during the work week. And my weekends are definitely filled with running King of Pops.
I'm sure accounting gives you a great background to kind of make sure everything's profitable and make sure it makes sense for you, even if it's
Exactly.
side hustle. I don't, side hustle is something that I think anytime someone has a side hustle, it becomes a lot more than just a part-time thing. It always becomes a lot more. And I
Because
that firsthand.
people look at it and they're like, oh, okay, you're selling popsicles, but they don't see the admin part of things where you're having to do your books, you're having to send out emails, follow up with people. Like, you don't want to just have one conversation and then that's it. You want to be able to follow up. You want to drum up leads and things of that nature. So it's just not you go out and you come back home and the admin part, it just happens. You definitely have there's just you can spend 5 hours in the evening doing emails and things of that nature.
And
So
when you're doing your own thing, it never ends. You're always networking, you're always doing something. Whether you're at home, you're even thinking about, hey, what am I going to do for this next event? How am I going to get another event? How am I going to do this? Oh, in 3 months from now, I want to make sure that we're able to do this and this instead of sitting down just relaxing. It's always a thought in your head that never ends. When you're a business owner, you don't get a break. Your brain never stops.
no, even on vacation, you're like thinking about, okay, like last year I missed this event. So how can I time to make sure that the next year I'm able to, apply and hopefully get into this. It doesn't stop.
So now that we are coming into 2024, what are your goals over this next year for your business?
So my goals is to reach corporate companies because I want to get involved in their team building, right? And so they're welcome to spring parties or they're welcome to summer or end of summer parties. So that's like one of the goals is to do that. I want to also get involved with more schools to just provide that like healthy because our pops are smart snack approved, which is like one of the big it was like a campaign going for schools and just providing kids with healthy food to healthy choices to have at school. So I want to get involved with that to give that our pops to be an option for schools to be able to select and have a pop but still enjoy and know that it's healthy.
Absolutely. And if you're doing schools, so kids are going to go home, they're going to be like, hey, mom, hey, dad, can you believe that I had this really cool pop at school? And they're going to be like, oh, well, what was that business? And then they're going to pull you up on Facebook or Instagram. And they're going to say, oh, they're here this weekend. Why don't we go check it out for ourselves? and it's just,
Right.
it always turns over. So that's awesome. I think that's a wonderful goal to have. A little bit outside of your business, what kind of brought you to Ponte Vedra? What were the factors that made you decide, hey, Ponte Vedra is where I want to do my business?
So we were in New York, and know that we're not close to retirement age, but just in the mindset of that. And my husband and I, we're both from Florida. My husband's from Jacksonville. And so we know that we wanted to retire near a beach. And so I'm from Miami, but I didn't want to live in that hustle and bustle. And we couldn't decide which side, whether we wanted to be on the East Coast side or the West Coast side of Florida. So we ended up saying, okay, well, let's try Ponte Vedra, because my husband had mentioned this to a couple of his friends that we were going to head back this way and that we couldn't decide where. And so they were like, there's a new area called Nocatee. And so we looked it up, we pulled up on YouTube, and we watched tons and tons of videos. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's the place. It's not too far from the beach, and it's just in a nice area. And the water park is also what sold us, and was like, you don't even have to leave the area. So that's what sold us.
And it's so well upkept in comparison. I love Jacksonville. Don't get me wrong. Love Jacksonville, but when you go to Jacksonville, you see a difference in the way people take care of their community between the two areas. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very nice. Very, you could almost say, in comparison to Jacksonville, you could call it luxurious. That's really
Yes,
the difference. It's just so much more pride is taken in the area in comparison.
absolutely.
Now, with you being a small business and this whole thing being about shopping local, why do you think that it's important for people to shop local?
Because just what we said, you're able to sustain your community. So if we're a community of small businesses, we all need to live, we all have family to take care of. And why would you want to go 20 miles out when there's somebody around the corner that can provide you, with the same thing? If the neighbor bakes cakes, like, why would you not patronize your neighbor so that they can maintain their home and take care of their family, and also provide you something that you're looking for to make your family happy?
That's it. That's what I always say is when you're buying from someone local or a small business, you're helping them make their mortgage payment. You're helping them pay their light bill, and you're supporting your neighbor. And it's more than
Mhm.
just a business transaction. That's where networking goes back to it. You're making relationships. And it's just so important to support people like that, because to them, you're not just a number, you're a real person. To a big corporation, you could just be the next person in line. You're just a number. So the relationships are so much more important when you're doing that kind of thing. In my
Exactly. Because I mean, like, we met one lady, we were doing an event at a farmer's market over in Silverleaf. And she was familiar with the brand because she had stayed, I think, in South Carolina or North Carolina, I believe. So she was familiar with us. And we started talking. And now, like, every time we do a farmer's market, she makes it her business to come and stop by the cart, whether she's getting a pop or not. And even if she doesn't purchase a pop, we'll give her a pop because we're having this conversation and we want her to enjoy herself, while she's at the cart. And so, you develop those types of relationships. Even for us, I went to a networking meeting and I met this woman, and we were talking, and she's a realtor. And I was talking, and I was like, I wasn't even interested in buying a home at the time. And we talked about my pops, and she, and I let her taste the pops. And so she was patronizing. So I said, you know what? I think I want to buy a home in this area now. And so there was that business exchange. We were both able to patronize each other, and then we became friends. And so now if there's someone who wants something that she maybe can provide, then that happens. And then there's people who's come to my cart at different events and says, hey, I know Leslie. She told me you would be out here. So, it's just really cool that you meet people. And sometimes it's not only just business, they'll pass your information on and you
Exactly.
have to just come up to you.
It's so much more than just business. Being a business owner is, like you said, it's not just about those business transactions. It engulfs an entire thing of relationships, of friendships, not just relationships, but you get to know people and it's awesome. It's so much more than just being okay. It's different when you work for yourself than when you work for someone else and you're just hourly.
Mhm.
When you can actually, it's your service that they're using and that you're shaking hands, and it's just so much better and so much more rewarding, and it feels good. It's very nice to have that kind
I
of
like to
relationship.
consider myself as like a resource because a lot of times I go out and I meet so many different people, and now I'm starting to want to know, like, hey, what do you do? Because if I'm somewhere or if I'm on Facebook and they're in a group and someone says, does anybody know a person that does this? I can say, this person does this, and give them that referral. So that's also why I enjoy it and love it as well, because you become a resource almost for people in your community.
Exactly, like what is it they used back in the day? A Rolodex, isn't that what they call it to
Rolodex.
go through? That's kind of my thing with Park Bench here. I want to be able, somebody can say, "Hey, Dylan, do you know somebody for this?" And I'm like, "Yep, this is the person. Go check out the video that we just did with them, and you can know them and decide if you want to use them or not." It's cool to be that person, and that's what networking is all about. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
really, to me, networking is crucial. You can learn more and you can achieve more than any education ever through networking
Mhm.
and relationships.
Yes, agreed.
Well, I'm going to kind of wrap it up for you and ask you my favorite question, which is, if a young person asked you for advice on how to live their life, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to, one, make sure you network, get an education, right? Because it is definitely important, whether you stay in the field that you're educated in or not. It's just basically it's good to have. Try and be well-rounded in lots of things, the most that you can remember, because it helps you in your conversation with people. And the last thing I would just say is to not be an introvert. Do not be shy. Be open, ready to speak, because you just never know when your opportunity will arise. So
And it's
be
hard.
mindful.
It's absolutely hard. I used to be so shy. And for example, every time I do one of these interviews or videos, I always get that little feeling before I start where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of nervous for this. But so rewarding when you do actually, when you're not an introvert and you just talk to people, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
I think that is great advice. So, what's going to be the best way for people to contact you about your business?
So we can be found on Instagram at KOP _ Ponte Vedra. And on Facebook, we're King of Pops Ponte Vedra. And the main source, where you can book us, you can either do that by DMing us on either of the social media sites. We can also be booked through www.kingofpops.com, or you can email us at pontevedra@kingofpops.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you meeting with me.
You're welcome. And if I can just show just two of our products before we head out. One is, so we have King of Pups, which is like pup pops for our furry family. And so this is basically, it's all natural as well. It's made with yogurt, peanut butter, honey, and banana. And this is our strawberry lemonade pop, which is our best seller. The cool thing about this is we also have the ingredients on the back so that you can see what you're putting in your mouth. Because sometimes there's people with allergies of different variations. And so we like that you're able to see what it is before you taste it and make sure that you're okay to eat.
Well, I know you just won a ton of people over by saying you had the one for the pups because I've got a dog right here at my feet who would absolutely love it. And so I think that makes you a winner in my books.
Awesome. But I appreciate being able to speak with you and talk about King of Pops located here in Ponte Vedra, and also the ability to show our products. And we have tons of other flavors, but that's the best seller.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.